Welcome to the Peapod. And just like the peas in a peapod, each human is here to have experiences that will contribute to the growth of all. Here at the Peapod, we will examine some of these experiences and glean the lessons learned, the truth uncovered, and come to a deeper understanding through our sharing. So grab your popcorn, get comfortable, maybe even a paper and pen, and get ready for an amazing time with your hostess, Teri Angel, a woman on a mission to bring change, especially in the arena of peace, into our world. And here she is.
Oh my goodness. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to this Peapod. This is a sanctuary. Whatever's going on with you right now in your world, just take a pause. Just take a minute to reflect and think about peace. That's what we're going to do because this podcast is committed to that, to bringing more peace, more harmony, more of that beautiful tranquility in the place where sometimes there isn't any. Sometimes there's so much going on out in the world, it becomes tumultuous. But we can explore together how we can find more inner peace. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Whether we're able to stay in that calm during the storm, or if we just need some clarity about what all that confusion is all about, we can always reflect. And when we talk to each other, it becomes more clear what this is all about. This thing called life, being in a human bodysuit and going through the experiences we go through. So here we know that peace isn't just a destination, it's the whole journey. And we're so glad that you're here with us today to take this journey. And I want to welcome in my dear friend, Jim Mershon, to help with that discussion today. Thank you, Jim, for being here.
Thank you for having me. My pleasure, as always.
Yeah, we've got a lot going on in our world, and when I think about the desire to have peace on earth, I know that peace has to begin inside. So, what I wanted to hold a discussion about today is how do we do that? That's the big question on so many people's mind. How do we do that? How do we get to that place of inner peace? And I had a quote um, from Siddhartha Gautama. Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. And yet, we always say we want peace out there, right? We want peace in our country. We want peace in our town. We want peace in our world. And we forget that one important part, what's going on inside of us, what's going on in here. So, Jim, let's talk about how do we even begin to get to a peaceful place?
Boy, that's such a big topic. I've been thinking on this today, and as with these discussions, I draw from my own experiences, and I think back to many years ago when uh, I didn't even know I needed to find peace, and let alone that it was going to be within. It was always, oh, my life would be so much better if so and so at work wasn't such a jerk, or if only you know, my brother was a little kinder to me, didn't mess with me all the time, or you get the picture. It's
Yeah,
always, if only something else out there were different, then I'd be okay.
yeah,
And that's kind of a crutch, I think. And even in doing that, when I think back, maybe deep down I did understand the difference, but it was just I didn't know any better or any different than to blame others for what I couldn't figure out. And I think that's a big thing for people. I'd heard, I listen to Ram Dass all the time when I'm bored, and he just had mentioned it's hard to get out of a prison when you don't know you're in one.
Mhm.
Um, and that is kind of how I felt about those situations. I didn't even know that this uh, prison was around me, that I needed to stop blaming others, and that was really creating my issues. Not anything they were doing, but my reaction to them. Um, and maybe that's a good place for a lot of people to start. If someone really is at a loss, well, how do I even start going about this? Then maybe you're at that point where that's a good place to start. Um, what do I perceive as my obstacles to a more peaceful life? Um, a good place to start.
It is. And oh my gosh, Jim, you brought up a really good point. Starting with being a baby, everybody around us is dictating how our world is, right? If we're crying, they're going to react in a certain way. If we're in need of something, they're going to be there, dictating how everything takes place with you. So it's no wonder that as we grow, we keep looking for that superhero to swoop in and say, "Oh, you're unhappy. Let me do something to make you happy." Or, "You're sad. Let me lift you up so you're not sad anymore." So starting from the very beginning of our human life, we've seen that something outside of us, somebody outside of us, has always been there to guide and to help us through whatever is going on. So it's no wonder we have that desire to have somebody make things better. And then as we get older and we start to come to the realization, hey, there's things I got to do by myself. And this is one of them. Peace, inner peace, is one of those things that nobody can give us an answer to. We have to figure that out.
And that was the hugest breakthrough for me when I finally, the light dawned on Marblehead. Uh, um, and it wasn't, I'm sorry to say, that long ago. But yeah, realizing that no one was responsible for my happiness, my peacefulness, my contentment, other than myself. Um, right, and then started the task of, okay, how do I do that? Uh, and then there starts the journey. Um,
Right.
and then there in reflection, realizing, well, it's little by little, I kind of did know it, or someone was whispering it to me all along, and I had taken little steps here and there. So there was some groundwork. It just took the mind, the thoughts, to catch up. I
Yeah.
think one of the uh, earliest things that I figured out, still as a young guy and kind of full of myself, and the ego was so in charge because I was so scared as a kid, just not knowing how to go through uh, life, as all of us, figuring things out.
Mhm.
Um, and I was one of these guys. Someone would come up, "Hey, how you doing?" Well, I would start to spin a tale, like, "Oh, geez, blah blah blah, not so good." And I started noticing people would walk the other way when they saw me coming, or they would start rolling their eyes like, "Oh, geez, I forgot. I shouldn't have asked him." I started recognizing the reaction of others to certain behaviors that I had. Um, and then from time to time would get similar responses from other people and be like, "Oh, geez, here we go." And learning to modify myself a little bit. understanding that I was not the only person in the room. There's other people there. And that's I'm looking for, I guess, acceptance, or I was looking for sympathy, or all of those things because I couldn't find them in myself.
Yeah.
But paying a little bit of attention to those around me they were all teachers, right? What's find the things that trigger you and you find your teacher. It's that
Oh,
showing you need to work.
yeah, those challenges of life. That's what we learn the most from. That's where we have the biggest leap in our spiritual growth, is when there are challenges. Yeah.
Right.
Thank
It's
thank you for,
noticing them and then realizing, oh, here's something that is going to take a little work. I got to focus on
mhm.
that.
Yeah, thank you for that insight and for sharing that experience. Um, there's this, what do you even call it, term of fake it until you make it. Have you ever, in those conversations said, "Oh, I am just wonderful and everything is great," and inside you were maybe trembling or sad, or something was going on inside of you, but yet you wanted to extend that kind of energy so that, like you were saying, you're more accepted when you're a positive person than if
Right.
something is going wrong.
Yes, absolutely. And I suppose that's sort of the flip side of that coin, going way the other way of, uh, right. Just complete. Yeah, everything's great. I'm super. When you're hiding some really deep depression where, maybe that's the time to find someone to talk to.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
would be helpful, right? There are so
Yeah.
many ins and outs to all of this.
Hmm. Yeah. We've learned a lot, I think, as a society from people that we've seen in a certain way. And I'm thinking specifically of some of the ones who decided to check out of their life, and those comedians that just made us laugh hilariously and were so funny, but on the inside they were hurting so bad. So I think a lot of people are in that category where they're really hurting, but they don't know how to express that hurt, because again it goes back to acceptance, doesn't it? Would we accept that person if we saw the hurt, if we saw the anger, if we saw the confusion? And because they want to be accepted, they show us that fakeness, that side that says, "Look at me, I'm funny. Look
Right.
how happy I am." I think there's a lot of people that can relate to that and resonate with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, yeah. And, I don't know there's any one answer other than, I guess, committing to yourself to pay attention. Well, and the three C's, um, compassion, kindness, and love. Well, all right, maybe not three C's, but
I'm going, okay, now I'm spelling this out.
well, now I've got everybody's attention.
Yeah.
Um, but right, when in doubt, um, I, I recall, yeah, when in doubt, it was anger was the go-to reaction.
Hmm.
Uh, I didn't really understand the compassion or kindness or love unless it was convenient. I definitely can think of times in my younger days when that was really when any of those three things came out. And love, I knew what heard of it, and I thought I had an idea of what it was, but now I understand that I didn't have a clue. it's everything. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's just so important. But um, yeah, when I guess if we're really stuck in whatever we're in, if nothing else, just try to go to compassion, kindness, and love, and starting inside, internally. Um, at least I know that's what's been working for myself. And then I'm available to give that love and kindness and compassion out to others. Um,
Yeah.
but
But
the
so many
biggest
times we have it backwards, don't we? We have it backwards. We think, okay, I have to give it out outside of me.
Well,
Right?
how many classes are there to teach us how to be kind and loving and compassionate? But
Yeah.
nobody has to teach us how to be angry. That
Right.
we all got that down. That just
Yeah.
comes with the programming, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I was listening to the singer Pink. I love her. I love her attitude, her ballsiness. Just she is a boss. And she was doing an interview where she was talking about anger and the necessity of anger because we all get angry,
mm,
but yeah, we try to deny it. Oh, I'm not angry. You know, I've said
yeah,
that myself when I was steaming. I'm not angry. But she was saying how therapeutic it is to explore that anger and to express it in a healthy way.
well,
Not in a
that's
way where you're
nice.
attacking, but in a way that you're expressing it in a way that you're focused on what it is inside of you and not
Right,
focusing it towards somebody, but allowing it to release out of yourself. And I thought that was so wise of her to express that
right,
because she says I have a lot of anger, and I use it to motivate me. I use it to move me forward with that anger, but expressing it. And she does such a good job of expressing it through all of her means of entertaining us, and we're entertained by the stories that she tells in her songs.
right.
But we all
Oh,
need to explore that. We all have every human emotion that there is inside of us going on. But we tend to ignore that one, don't we? We tend to
mm.
want to say to somebody, I'm not mad at you.
Oh, but that's such a great message. And as you say, right, the anger is a part of us. It's a part of uh, the human experience.
Mhm.
Um, there for a reason. I think it protects us in certain, but as you say, it's express it, but don't live there.
Don't live there.
Let
Yeah.
it go. Have to let it go. And how many times, um, I'm thinking of this in my driving today, um, being angry and finding out I was right, you know, in my anger. And then comes sort of that self righteous, well, I have a right to be angry. And
Mhm.
that's not good. It's, you know,
Right.
let it go. Okay, this person, blah, 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 and they said they're sorry. So let it go. It's
Let
yeah.
it go.
And the only person it affects is yourself hanging on to it. Being angry at someone has no effect on them in the long run.
Yeah.
Um, and
Yeah.
you're only hurting yourself by hanging on to these things, and just let them go.
Yeah, it's like that old analogy, taking poison, thinking somebody else is going to die from it.
Mhm.
That anger is a poison if you just keep it. going and keep it boiling inside of you, and keep pulling whatever that experience was already done, right? It's already
So
happened,
true.
and you keep pulling it into the present moment. And that's the poison. That's what we're
Right.
doing when we do that.
I loved, I believe it was the Dalai Lama. Someone asked him about anger, and how is it that you got rid of anger or overcame anger? And he laughed in that Dalai Lama laugh.
Yeah.
And he was like, I get angry. I'm a human being.
Yeah.
Um, but he said he just understands the folly of staying there. As soon as he recognizes the anger, well, then you let it go. And maybe it's important to mention, letting go of anger doesn't mean that it's never like floats on by and visits you again. It might revisit and say, "Oh, hi, remember me?" And but oh yes, I haven't seen you in ages. The whatever, the kid in high school who made me mad, and here it is, here you are. But now the trick is, see it, recognize it, but say hello.
Mhm.
Let's have a drink, and nice to see you, bye. That they're gonna come back, but try not to let it trigger you again. Just go, oh, there you are, old friend, nice for stopping by, see you later.
Awesome.
And just don't get
Love
caught.
love these words of wisdom, Jim. And
Ah,
what I usually do, I ask the question, what am I supposed to do with this? So if
mm,
anger comes up, if a situation comes up and somebody's maybe pushing your buttons and trying to get a rise out of you about something, just ask, step back and say, what am I supposed to do with this? And
mm,
if you're coming from a heart-centered place, the answer is always to stay in your peace. Stay in the
absolutely.
peace inside of you. And yeah, there's times to express anger. Maybe somebody has done something, and they really need to know that it was hurtful. So there's
Mm,
a way to express that in a loving way and not in an attack way. And I think that's the difference when we're dealing with others and even with ourselves.
mm.
Don't beat yourself up either if you've done something. Just pour love and forgiveness into it, and come from that part of, how is this going to be helpful to me? How is this going to help my spiritual growth and bring me to that place of inner peace?
Oh, you are so right. And boy, what a great example, because we all have those people in our lives who like to, and
Mhm.
it's like it's their job.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and boy, the more someone, starts getting angry, it just feeds they just got to keep going. And yeah,
Mhm.
like you say, if you stay in that place of peace, I know sometimes once I recognized that and I understood, oh, that's just what they do, I got to let it go. And I would just kind of laugh along with them, say, oh, yeah, you're right. I do, that's funny. And boy, nothing takes the wind out of a button pusher's sails quicker than, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
done.
Or if somebody's trying to argue with you, it's really hard to carry on an argument all by yourself. Like, why aren't you arguing back? Well, I
There
don't feel like arguing today. You know?
you go. Oh, that's, yeah, great example.
Yeah. Oh, what a great discussion. So I know we have people listening. Thank you all for being here.
Oh,
And
good.
if you have any questions for us, we'd
Oh,
love to take that. I'd love to make this interactive. And
please.
if you have any questions about how to explore more of getting to that place of inner peace, we'd love to hear from you. So, there are many methods that we can use to become more peaceful. And one that's my favorite is meditation. I
Uh,
love meditation. And I have my go-tos as far as guided meditation. I have certain people that when I put on that video or that audio and they're going to take me into my heart, I just automatically go and nothing else matters. No, there's nothing else in the world that's more important than spending that time. So, Jim, how about you? What's a go-to for you?
So, I'm so glad you brought this up because this was another topic that I was kind of spinning around in the brain today. And yeah, meditation. How long have I heard about how useful and helpful meditation is? I'm a terrible meditator. And, I try and I continually try, but, I've found through years of observation, I guess, I meditate in other ways, as do a lot of other people. I have a hard time with the just sitting, and trying to meditate until I think I started learning from all of you the paying attention to the breath. I think that was kind of a turning point for me for being able to sit still and do some meditation. But still, for me, it's movement. I've always been a moving guy. Like my decades of being in the skiing business, and skiing was my meditation because that was like the one thing I could do and just be, I mean, just so void of anything other than that. And it was just the most wonderful, peaceful thing. And then later on, I found Tai Chi, the movement, or taking a walk in the woods. Um, Things of that nature would give me that meditative state. But an aspect of meditation, I never quite thought about it in these terms. Like I used to always think, oh, you got to meditate and meditate and meditate. And then all of a sudden one day you're like, oh, rainbows are coming out of your head. And it's, there's Jesus walking in the room and right. But I forget who it was. Someone much, much wiser was just mentioning that meditation is just about noticing those thoughts
Mhm.
and letting them go. And that's like following the breath. You're sitting trying to meditate, and then, the monkey mind starts coming in. Well, it's just notice it. Oh, there it goes. And then back to the breath. Give
Yeah.
that mind a rest for a minute. And then, 3 seconds later, there it is again. If you can do that, you're meditating, and that's so, so good. It's just wonderful, wonderful stuff. Um, so
I love
getting to be able to sit and do that a little better, but yeah, still for me, things are movement, and for other people, it might be crocheting or cooking, or I think there's a lot of things people do that they don't even realize is meditating.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Gardening. You
oh
do
my
landscaping, Jim. Being in nature, even if
Mm,
you're just walking, stepping on grass or walking by a brook or, looking at the beautiful trees, that's all meditation. That's all allowing that energy to flow through you that is
right.
so natural and beautiful and harmonic. But I wanted to mention, you're talking about the monkey mind and all those thoughts. We can't stop our thoughts. We have no control to do that. So, what I like to do is incorporate everything into my meditation. So,
Oh,
let's say, like right now, let's say I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to meditate. So I'm hearing noises in the room. There's a little fountain going, and I hear it moving. I hear cars going by. So I just bring all of that into the meditation with me. I'm like, thank you for being here. And then eventually, those thoughts that are my to do thoughts, oh, you really have to do this, and you've got to pay attention to that. And you've got so much, out there to do, and eventually, all of those kind of thoughts are going to just bring in whatever's happening around me and pay more attention to the immediate, to what's happening in the present moment. It's just a little technique that I've developed with meditation where I don't even focus on trying to stop any thoughts. You know, a lot of
Mm.
people say, look at them like they're clouds and they float away. You know, I just say, no, hello, welcome, come on in. And eventually, all thoughts lead to that one focus of the heart and focusing on the breath, like you were saying. And then just ask, okay, what do I need to know in this very moment? And when you do that, your heart is going to start talking to you, not so much the brain, but the heart is going to tell you what you need in that moment. And it's just a beautiful way of not resisting anything, not saying, I have to have peace and quiet to do this meditation. So everybody shush, tell the birds to be quiet, tell the cars to stop coming down your street. That's resistance. But when you just say, I know that's going to happen, so I'm just going to welcome all the sounds. I'm going to welcome all the world that's happening around me and bring it in to the inside and just let it be what it is.
That is beautiful. And what a boy. I can't wait I now have a new way to try meditating because that is fantastic. And the point that you made, which really is kind of the point, is getting to the now,
Mm-hmm.
getting to the present. That really is kind of the it thing because that's
Yeah,
all there really is.
that's all there is. And in
That,
the present moment, yeah, the world's not standing still for you. So just being in the world, being in the present, and
Mm.
allowing whatever's happening to happen.
And just be with it.
Yeah.
Oh, that is wonderful.
Yeah. So Blue says, Jim, have you tried listening to a talk meditation to carry you through? I will send you one.
Oh,
So Blue,
I will
thank you.
try one. Thank you, Jean. Oh, awesome.
Yeah. Let's see what else is going on. She said, I just did a session here and told the guy to just flow with ease to the rhythm of life here at this place. That's
Mm,
it. It's the flow, isn't it? It's getting
perfect.
into
Yeah.
alignment with everything, not
The
saying, oh, it has to be only this. That's limiting yourself. When you
mm,
open it up and say, I'm going to be in flow with everything. There's nothing that won't fit in here, even if it's like kids laughing or screaming or, the neighbor banging on the wall or whatever it might be. Just incorporate it. Just say, oh, welcome. Thank you for being in my meditation with me today.
right.
And go in with that kind of attitude. Yeah.
That's
I love
beautiful. Yeah,
this.
that's just perfect, and it makes so much sense. Right. The allow. Yeah, and really, right. You're so right. Wherever anybody is at any given moment, they should be able to have a little meditate, even if it's 30 seconds. Um,
Yeah.
on the subway in the city or, um, the bustling resort area when you're, you know, crazy with people, you could still take even just a few seconds and just, yeah, be with all of that and be in the moment and
Yeah.
give
And
yourself.
when you can understand that, then you can meditate anywhere. You don't have to have your little quiet room, or go to a sanctuary or anything. You can meditate on a busy bus. You can meditate on an airplane. You can meditate anywhere that you are because it's just you.
Boy, that makes so much, right? How many times have I said, I would love to meditate, but I'm just always so busy with work, or,
I
I've
don't
got
have
two.
time, right?
Who has time?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I love this,
And
and that is honestly the fastest way to achieve that inner peace.
Mm,
When you can give yourself the opportunity to just sit with you and just explore. Just explore. Let your heart talk to you.
The heart space is so important. And right, just realizing that you can do it anywhere, anytime. That's empowering.
Yeah, it really is. Because I've heard that also. People will say, "I don't have time to meditate." Or I don't have the opportunity because my family demands my attention, or I'm at work so much. I work this many hours, and I'm like, you can meditate at work. You know,
Right.
very easy to do. And people think you have to sit there, with your eyes closed and um, just be very still. You can meditate with your eyes open. I do it all the time. As I'm
Right.
driving down the road, I'm not going to close my eyes while I'm driving down the road, especially that Pacific Coast Highway. I'll end up in the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah. Glad to
But
hear that.
I meditate on the beauty, because as you're driving along, there is so much beauty in this country. And I just look at the beautiful mountains. I look at the ocean and the fields and the valleys, and
Mm,
you meditate on beauty. You meditate on whatever is in your immediate presence.
right. Oh,
Yeah,
that's perfect. Well, yeah, and right, driving, what a great time to be present. That
yeah,
makes a lot of sense.
absolutely.
Mm.
So, another thing that will help with inner peace is gratitude. You all knew that was coming, didn't you?
Oh, boy, boy.
Gratitude. It changes everything. It really does. When you
I
can,
learned that from you.
yeah,
Mm,
yeah, let's talk about that. Because, I think when we are so self centered about what's happening in our own world,
yeah.
and maybe things aren't going quite right, or maybe they are, but you're so focused on you. When you open up from that and say, how can I serve, how can I help others today? And
Mm,
one way to do that is gratitude. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything to give gratitude.
yeah. Yes. So, boy, um, gratitude is a big one. And as I say, um, until meeting yourself, well, and especially with Gene and Brooke, learning about gratitude was so expanding. I mean, it never dawned on me. And can I call it a powerful tool? I mean, it's
Mhm.
so much more than that. I don't even really have the proper words to describe it. And, when I began, I would hear you guys talk about gratitude and hear people using it in, like a little, love and gratitude, or see it at the end of an email. I'm like, well, all right, I get the idea. That's neat.
Mhm.
That's nice. But I didn't really understand it. But I just started using it anyways, especially like in my little prayers in the morning to everybody. And
Mhm.
um, I say, oh, love and gratitude to the universe, and thanks for the new job, thanks for whatever, everything's going great, love and gratitude, but
Yeah.
I didn't feel it until I guess I had to wear it for a little while. And then
Yeah.
it started fitting, and it felt comfortable, and I started understanding the actual meaning of it. And then there was vibration behind it when I would say it. And I mean, just for anyone listening that maybe this is a new concept, boy, try it out, because it was a big game changer in my life and in my relationships with others. And yeah, I could go on and on, but yeah, boy, gratitude.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful you brought that up.
Well, thank you. And it's more than the words thank you. We sometimes we have a tendency to just say that automatically and not put the feeling behind it, like you were mentioning. It is a feeling, it is an emotion, gratitude is. And so when you're saying thank you to someone, Really express that from your heart, because people know if you're just giving a cursory thanks, they know that that's just like an automatic response that we give. But if you take time and look someone in the eyes and say, thank you, it
Mm,
makes a difference. It really does. They're going to feel that heart centered emotion. They're going to feel the love that's in there in your heart. So
mhm,
that's why I say gratitude changes everything. When when I'm with somebody that has done something like a service type of thing, like a waitress in a restaurant, somebody that's checking me out at the grocery store, I will usually give them a card if I have one with me, my gratitude cards.
right.
But if I don't have one with me, I always make eye contact. And here's another thing that makes it more special. If you know their name or if they have a name tag on, say their name. I'll say, thank you,
Ah,
Jim. Thank you for what you've done for me today. And, cashiers look at you really funny when you say that. But then I think it really starts to sink in. That person saw me. They saw
mm,
me. I wasn't just somebody standing here performing a service. I was a person. And that's the difference when we can make it personal. And especially with your servers in the restaurants, it
mm,
makes a big difference that they know that you see them as an individual, not as a robot bringing you food to your table. There's a person there, and they've got feelings and they've got things that are going on in their lives, and maybe they're having a bad day. And
mm,
your gratitude, your acknowledgement of them, may be what turns them around for the rest of their day. Your smile may be the only smile they see that day. They may have been dealing with a restaurant full of grumpy customers, or that person coming through the cashier's line in the grocery store. Maybe that person's stressed because, they have to have the money to pay for the food. So there's a lot of energy going on with those who are in service positions. And the
mm,
more we make their life a little easier and more happy because somebody saw them, then we're bringing more peace into our world. That's just one thing we can do that doesn't, like I said, doesn't cost you anything to be nice, right? To be kind.
that's beautiful. And yes, so remembering that we are all human beings here, whatever role we might be playing, yeah, that's powerful. Right. That's not a checkout person. That's a human being
Hmm.
being a checkout person.
Right. Yeah.
Um, I'm a human being being a customer. If that's a
Right.
checkout person, then I need to be a customer. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
that's
I want to read a little bit from what Jean Lorio wrote. She was talking about Confucius, and she said, we need to know ourselves and open up to who we really are when we learn to love ourselves and have
mm,
gratitude and closeness to our Creator. Then we can love and change the world. And that's exactly what we've been talking about. How do we change our world?
right.
You know,
Thank you.
we say we want change, you know? This is how you do it, guys.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Powerful stuff, and so attainable.
Yeah. So Blue says, when I traveled for a living, I would stop over babble and breathe deep, listen, and let it out. I would carry this with me throughout my business trips.
Wow,
Beautiful. What a beautiful ritual. You know,
that's a
it's,
great idea.
and I've been by Babel, and I know you have too, Jim. And what a peaceful energy there with that little brook, isn't
Oh
it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah. And Jean Lorio says, your heart is your inner temple. It's always there,
Mm,
always. And sometimes we try to ignore it, don't we? We're like, oh, I got business to take care of. I gotta put my business face on, you know. But business can be so much easier if we bring an energy of peace and love with us.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Do everything from the heart center. Um,
Yeah,
and it takes practice, it takes thought, but it's so worth it.
yeah, yeah. So we want peace in the world. That's that's what I hear from pretty much everybody I talk to. I haven't talked
Right.
to one person yet that says, "No, I don't want peace." You know? So, this world, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of tumultuousness. There's a lot of conflict. There are wars going on in different
Mhm.
parts of the world. There's a lot of racism and all kinds of isms and upset. But we want peace. We want a world that works for all of us. We want a world where it's going to be here for the coming generations.
Right.
So, one thing that we're doing, I say we because Jim is a big part of it also, we're doing this movement, this organization that we have begun that's 10 million for world peace. So, Jim, would you like to talk about your part and how you're helping us out with this organization?
Oh, well, I mean, it was just a simple, you guys reached out asking for volunteers. So myself, like a number of other people, just reached out and said, yeah, I love the idea. Um, I'll help out. So um, I guess I'm trying to let people around me know about it to get involved. I guess the biggest thing right now is just getting other people aware and involved because, as you say, um, it is something I think everyone can agree upon, right? And it's above politics, it's above um, race and gender and all of those things. So yeah, for my part, aside from a little bit of admin work, just yeah, trying to get people on board. I think that's the biggest step at this point. The more, the merrier.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. And I'm
and it
streaming the link below us where you can become a volunteer.
hmm, volunteer. It's a great thing to do.
Yeah, and
And
we're new. I want to put that out there. We are new. Marbeth and Maureen and I just began this. I don't even think it's been 3 months now that we got this started, and so we're figuring out how to utilize volunteers, where to place you that's going to be the most effective in helping us. But we need people that can write. We need people that can share on social media. We need people that's going to put the word out there that this is happening because we're working our way to September. So where are we? We're in June, July, August, September. So in 3 months, starting September 1st, we are going to start meditating once a day. Right now, it's once a week on Sundays. September 1st, we begin 21 days of peace, where every day we're going to meditate and bring in the energy of peace geared toward our world leaders, our government officials, our county leaders, state, local, and just sending out the message from all of us that we want peace. We want a world that works together for everyone, not just a few. And we're going to see this, and we want 10 million plus involved in this. So, Jim is helping us in a big way with the volunteers. So, there's your link to go sign up.
sign up. I look forward to seeing your name in the volunteer list. That's going to be awesome.
And
And
Deirdre is with us. Deirdre says, I'm starting to see some movement in our Peace on Earth tour and the 10 million for world peace. I met with Marbeth and we have plans.
Awesome.
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 Yeah. Yeah. So the more volunteers we have, the easier this is going to be to share it out. You know,
Absolutely.
I can share so much as one person. There's 24 hours in my day. I can spend those 24 hours putting out the message. But if we have, let's say, 50 of us doing the same thing, sharing out love and light, sharing out this message that, hey, we're doing something here. That's what we want. We want people spreading the words in your communities, in your groups, your Facebook, your Twitters, your Instagrams, Pinterest, whatever means you use to spread love into the world. We want you to share this and get on board with us. I think almost everybody that's on in our audience right now has signed up to volunteer. I know Auntie Jean has, and Deirdre. I don't know about some of the others. So if you haven't yet, there's your opportunity. Right, Jim?
Come on aboard. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and it's such a positive, as you were mentioning, so many things happening in the world that aren't positive. Here's something that we can all do so easily that's nothing but positive. Positive and love, and all the people around you are also going to be full of love and positivity. That's
Yeah,
what a better place to be.
absolutely. And like Charlie Coon said, be grateful. You get back 10 times. Yeah, so you're being of service when you share the peace movements with others. That's a service you're giving, and when you give, you get back.
Mm,
So, yeah, so make it a daily thing to just share it out once a day. Just say, hey, get on board with this movement. And then when we begin those meditations daily, share those out and let people know what we're doing. Yeah, such a beautiful, beautiful thing to be
mm.
involved with. We choose, we make decisions every moment. We choose what we're going to do with our 24 hours, don't we? we
Yep,
it's a decision that we make. Yeah. So this could be that decision for at least a small part of that time.
well said. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Kimmy, and thank you everyone who shares out the word. And let's get more people so that we can gather those 10 million. I believe in my heart this is happening, that the 10 million are ready and waiting, and we're going to make an impact in the world.
Absolutely. Yeah, we just have to get to them so that they know.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. And it's important because when we put out an energy into the world, it goes into the great mix of all the energies in the world. So if we're putting peace, and just imagine there's 10 million people sharing peace at the same time. Just imagine that impact as it's going into the mix of everything that's going on in the world. This is
Mhm.
big, you guys. This is bigger than one person. It's going to take a village to do this. And we appreciate each one of you that's stepping up and helping us out with this mission. Okay, so Auntie Jean said, I just reviewed our Peapod on faith. One conclusion we came to was that faith has action, and volunteering is great action.
Ah,
Thank you,
very
Jean.
good point. Very good
Yeah,
point. Yes.
faith is action. I like that. Yeah. And love is action. Yeah. We can say it all day long, but when we actually do the act of love,
Hmm.
then it makes an impact. Then it makes a difference. So, Ah, Jim, what a great discussion today.
Oh,
So
my goodness.
I just want to recap where we've been during this hour because we did talk about a lot of things.
Hmm.
But to me, I think the most important thing is find what is inside of you. Find that place in your heart where you can bring in inner peace. And Jim and I talked about meditation and gave you some tips and tools for that. And and just finding that place of peace. You know, you can go into nature, you can go into a quiet room or by a quiet little brook. You know, whatever it takes, just know who you are and what you can do. And we're unstoppable. We really are. When we think about it, if we put our minds together, we're quite unstoppable in this world.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Here, here.
And Jim, you mentioned some other things that you like to do, like Tai Chi, and what were some of the ones that you talked about?
What
Because
skiing
it was
was
movement.
for me, but right, movement, seeing, just
Yeah,
walking in nature, um, things like that. Um,
yeah,
yeah, anything that I'm moving around. My fur babies, they give me meditation time.
yeah,
Mm,
yeah, absolutely. Animal energy, if you can be with that, that's one of the best things in the world to bring out peace because they're unconditional love. And they respond to us. So just as the animals respond to our energy, people also respond. And
mm,
we talked about that when we talked about anger and staying calm and showing love to somebody, even if we might have discussion about something that we were upset about. Stay calm, stay in your heart, and this all works together for that inner peace. And when we find that inner peace, we're going to start seeing more and more of the peace out in the world because we're living it. It's coming from us.
absolutely. Right. Nothing better than leading by example.
Right. So,
Mm.
Jim, any last words for our listeners before we sign off of here today?
Um, no, just my love and gratitude to you, Terry. Thank you. Thank you so much. For I can't even think about how many things that I've learned from you. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. This hour went so fast. Thank you to everyone who tuned in, everyone who participated and interacted with us. I love all of any show I do, I love making it interactive. So thank you for joining in with the discussion. And hopefully, we've touched your heart today. Hopefully, we've given you something to think about and started some wheels turning inside your head. I know every time I talk to Jim, I get the thoughts, and I go off on that little tangent of, oh, I could do that, or we could talk about this. So I just love holding conversation with you, Jim. Thank you so much for this
Thank
day.
you.
And
Thank
to all of you out there, stay in your heart, stay blessed, and we will see you later. Namaste, y'all. Bye, everyone.